Hi, Fiber friends. Thanks for joining me on the Fiber Artist Podcast today. I had a blast chatting with today's guest, Michelle Chesson. Michelle is an artist, the brains, beauty, and talent behind Roving Textiles based in Canada. She and her dad design and build weaving looms in a bunch of different sizes, including the Epic Loom, which is a huge 6-foot by 7-foot loom for those of you who are on team go big or go home. That's me. And they offer a variety of beautiful yarns and weaving fibers in their shop. Highly recommend you check it out. We talk a little bit of everything in this episode. We go a little bit behind the scenes of having a fiber supply shop. We chat about trends in color and staying creative, and a bit about our plans for the future. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a comment and tell your creative friends if you're enjoying watching or listening. And if you'd like to take a little fiber shopping trip, head to neuromastudio.com and get 15% off using the code PODFRIEND. And you can find Michelle at rovingtextiles.com and on Instagram at rovingtextiles. Enough babbling from me. Here's Michelle. If you can go ahead and just let people know your first and last name and where they can find you online and on Instagram.
Sure. So I'm Michelle Chesson, and I'm the owner of Roving Textiles. You can find me at my website, rovingtextiles.com, or Instagram at Roving Textiles. Just started TikTok, so we'll see how
You
that
did.
goes.
You took the plunge.
I took the plunge. It's pretty small, but mostly Instagram and my website.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm going to have to follow you on TikTok to get some tips and pointers or whatever, because I've been avoiding it.
Yeah.
I opened an account and I just haven't done anything with it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you for coming on. I'm so sorry about the mishap. For those of you listening, I scheduled Michelle for a couple days ago, and then I thought I had her in for a much later time. So I left this poor lady hanging for, I don't know how long, maybe an hour. And she's wondering if I've died or what. Like, why haven't I logged in?
Different time zone time. That's what it was. We're in the same time zone. So.
No, I know. Well, I was scheduling someone who lives in California, and I had double booked. So then I was replacing the name, and I just didn't replace the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. It was very bad.
That's okay.
Anyway, clearly I had a little bit, I had so much anxiety to make sure I did not miss this one. So anyway, wait, so you have a 3-year-old. So that means you had her right before the Coco. You had right before the pandemic, I guess.
She was about 8-9 months.
Okay.
When it depends on when you know the pandemic hit, but around that time, right?
Yeah,
and we through the winter, and we were rural, like we were kind of isolated anyway. So she is definitely a COVID baby, but I'm lucky that she is super social. Like It's like it didn't impact her, and I'm so thankful for it. Having little ones has been been good for me, at least. And
home all the time, and
we tried daycare, but it was like mostly out because like, oh, you're sick, you have to stay home. Right. Oh, you sneeze, you have to stay home.
It's been a wild couple years for sure.
I was actually just thinking of the timeline. I was talking to my accountant earlier and just like looking year after year, and there's no like normal year for me, because like I was pregnant with Layla, and then I had Layla, and then I was home with her, and then it got busier, and then I was pregnant with Coco and had Coco, and then COVID hit, and then it was like bam, and then last year,
I know, to an experience like a normal flow of business. So actually, I'm very curious about this. So starting the business, right, I guess when you were pregnant with your first one, well, take me back. When did you start the business, and how did all those life changes sort of affect the ebb and flow of it? Like, did you slow parts of it down or just make do, or, how did it all go down?
When I look at the business, I don't like see it as a big thing, because like I'm just here in my space by myself, mostly interacting with people in the like it doesn't even feel like real people sometimes because I
Right.
don't get to meet people. So the pressure was never really there because I wasn't the main breadwinner.
Mm-hmm.
So I was off work the end of 2014 and the beginning of 2015, and I was looking for something to do, and then that's when all of this started coming back, and you'll know because you've been there that long too. So it just started coming back. There wasn't much out there, so I was playing around, and it kind of snowballed because I was one of the first ones in this area to do it. And then so that was early, like January 2015, and then a few months later I got pregnant with Layla, and it wasn't like I had no business plan. I just was doing fun things and making wall hangings, just how a lot of us start. And then I did my first market, and I think it was 3 months pregnant. So it just sort of happened. Because at first it was a side thing, the pressure wasn't there, right? So I was able to move with it. And then my ideas just came with the business side of things, with the looms and the tools. They just came because there was an opportunity there. There wasn't. I feel like I came into it at the perfect time.
Totally.
Because it wasn't there. There was nothing there. And over time, it has been ebb and flow. I've kind of just gone with it. When people want things, we're there for them. And also because my dad is the one who makes the looms, and so he retired the same year that I kind of started doing this.
Like 2014, 2015-ish?
2015, yeah. And it was like the perfect timing. So he never really retired. He just went from one job to another job. And it's just been so easy for us.
Yeah. Wait, so for you, what was your work? You said you left work in 2014. What was your work prior to this?
So I used to work for a very big yoga company.
Ooh. I just got back from yoga.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to work for Lululemon for 6 years. So I worked for them a little bit when I was in Australia. And then when we came back here, it was just an easy pickup. So I worked with them, and it just wasn't going the direction I wanted it to go. Kind of just fell into it,
Yeah. Were you doing retail side or corporate side?
Retail side. I was in the management and retail side.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't even know you lived in Australia either. So you have to fill me in on that too.
It was like rewind.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what year was it? 2005.
Okay.
I went to Australia with a girlfriend on a working holiday visa, and it was supposed to be 3 months. And it was kind of like a last minute thing. I had actually just broken up with a guy, and my mom was like, "You need to leave." She didn't want me to get back together with him. So
what better way than to go completely across the world?
Oh, I know. But I don't think she expected it to go the way that it did. So later on, it was supposed to be the 3 months, and then I extended it and I extended it again. And at that point you could stay for a year. So I met Brody in October of that year, and I was to leave in January of the following year, 2006.
And so Brody is your now husband, correct?
My now husband. Okay. So within a few months we met, and we decided we wanted to get married.
Wow. Is he Australian?
He's Australian, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And then you decided, instead of staying there, you guys decided to go to Canada?
Well, no. So I came back here, worked out visas, and then I went back there, and I lived there for 5 years.
Okay.
But I missed my family, and I wanted to come back and see what it was like to live here with him. And he's like, yeah, sure. We didn't own a home. We were renting, and we weren't committed to either of our jobs. And, I was working at a natural therapies clinic at the time. So it was like chiro, yoga,
nice.
kinesiology, all that kind of stuff. And I was told that that in my future, by an astrologist told me that in my future, I would go across the world, move across the world, and I would find, within a few years, I would find my passion, and it would be my career for the rest of my life. And I was like, well, okay. So we ended up moving back to Canada. And then I kept thinking about this thing. I'm like, well, this is definitely not Lululemon. This is not my passion.
Yeah.
And then here we are. It's just, it's crazy. So we've been back here I've lost track. now. I feel like this might be our 12th year. So I was there for 5 years, and we've been back in Canada for 12 years.
Okay, wow. So was it like a whirlwind romance, or did it just feel natural, or was it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so curious about international relationships that work out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we barely knew each other, but we just went with it because we wanted to explore it. We wanted to be together, and the only way for us, like that made sense to us, like, was to get married because of all the visas and everything.
Right.
It was like I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I was 26. Like, I was like, I want to do this, and I was always like, woo, go with the flow, you know. And everyone's like, oh my god, you're crazy. And Brody's 33, and all his friends are like, she's just using you because you're Australian and she wants to come back to Australia. He's like, no, I love her.
Oh my gosh, how romantic. I love it.
So anytime we hear like stories of like people not knowing for like a few years, I'm like, wow, we just knew for like in 3 months.
Yeah,
it just happened. I mean, and of course you have your ups and downs. It's
sure, you know, of course.
I mean, we got to know each other after we got married.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of, in a way, it's like, well, what better time to do that then, since you are committed, and then, you know, like when you're married, the outs are so much harder to do. So then you just work through it.
You commit.
Yeah, you just
exactly.
Are you usually like a fly by your seat of the pants kind of person? Like where you just go with the flow?
Yeah. He's the opposite. So like, I'm like, let's go away next week, or let's go away this weekend. He's like, okay, well, you know, like I have an idea and I need to execute it. So sometimes there's a lot of ideas and I don't know where to start, but yeah, I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person.
Yeah, sure. I kind of am too. I'm not a great planner.
No,
it's like I go from my gut and like my whims, you know, and I'm like, sure, this sounds great. Let's do it. And then when it happens, it's intense. Yeah, and it's intense when it happens. So I'm like, okay, you know, this is where the wind wants me to go, you know?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I'm so like that.
So
well, that's how I got to this, you know?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. I mean, I'm even thinking about it on the business side where, you know, like, it's like, I think there are a lot of people who start a business and they have this whole business plan and they know exactly where they're going to be making their money, or they're exactly how they're going to make it, how they're going to market it. And for me, it's been very organic, which it sounds like it's been similar to you. I don't know. I'm just not good at sort of thinking ahead of time, or even thinking about the bad, you know, like the bad things that could happen, which in a way I think makes me sort of eternally positive in a way.
Well, I think you and I, it seems like we've had like the same sort, like we've paralleled.
Yeah, we've had a really similar
business wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think having an online business is a lot, like it feels a lot safer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's no overhead.
Physical.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm sure you have quite a bit of overhead now. Like
I'm still in my house. I mean, I still do everything out of the house.
Oh my god!
So I don't know. I'm so resistant. I can't even imagine
what your house looks like.
Oh no, it's really
like,
horrible.
I know you can't really see because it's like now, like my studio isn't as like pretty as our last house, and we just moved in June. We were in an architect home, and it was like beautiful 2-story ceilings with a fireplace, and I had a great space, but it wasn't really functional because then I had like the shipping in another room. But everything is in one room here. It's long. I know it's dark back there, but I have a big window. It's like a regular size window in the basement, so I can see the trees and the kids if they're outside. And,
oh, nice.
But it is like I'm jammed in here right now. The spare bedroom, which is next door, that is the box room.
Okay, yeah, just for boxes.
A box and a spin bike.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I know how it goes. I mean, if a part of me wants to like. People have asked, like, to do a tour of the shipping area, the warehouse area. Yeah. I mean, it's my basement, and it just keeps exploding out of shelves. Like, it's just not doable anymore. Like, but I keep wanting to expand my offerings, but I'm like, I don't have anywhere to put them because every time I have a restock, even of just like something simple like ribbons, it's stacked on the floor because I only have a certain amount of shelving. And they're not big.
And ribbons are floppy. Like, it's like, how do you? Yeah, that was a challenge when I started carrying like softer things.
Yeah.
Like, what do I
stacking
do with
things.
this?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
It's hard, the logistics of it.
But I think that's like how I've grown, like we started off with one loom and then I wanted a bigger loom. So I just asked my dad to make a bigger loom and then I tried it out and then we used that for a bit and then had another idea and then so like once I had quite a few looms, I thought, oh, maybe I'll carry some yarn. So like it's always been baby steps and not even a lot of thinking. And I would just order a little bit and see how it went. And if it went well, I would continue on. And if it didn't, I would stop carrying it. And it's just kind of grown and grown. And it's like I never really look back that often. But even before the pandemic, I wasn't even carrying. I was doing fiber packs. I think there's only a few people doing fiber packs at that point.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal for me to say, oh, should I carry yarn?
Yeah. There's something about the pandemic year that has thrown off my whole understanding of what my business is supposed to be or look like. Because for some reason, okay, it simultaneously feels like only a couple months ago, like 2020 feels like only a couple months ago, but also it feels like a gazillion years ago. And it was such a strange year that, I mean, it's really weird. I have had normal years like 2016, 17, and 18 and 19 were what I should typically expect, where it's like slowly growing. But then 2020 was so weird and crazy. Like I had literally empty shelves at a certain point, like March and April. They were empty. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't know, while I was just waiting for shipments and then those got delayed and then whatever, they finally got there and then they were out in a month again. I was like, this is crazy.
It's crazy. And you don't know what to order because you don't know what to expect. And then you have to think of your space and where you're going to keep it. And
now especially.
Flies.
Now especially because I got used to that pattern of like a certain number of like containers or whatever that year. And I don't know why I'm using that year as my reality because obviously it's not going to be even close to that. But so now I'm having a lot of trouble like knowing how to plan and, each.
I'm sure a lot of people are. Like a lot of like other types of businesses are too.
Yeah, totally. Because I am feeling a slowdown, but at the same time, people are asking like when I'm restocking. So I'm like, hello, there's so much down there. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's just like that one color.
One color, one size.
Yeah. But I don't know if you remember. Remember last time we talked. I think we Skyped. We talked January 2020. Do you know that?
Yes.
That is when you and I talked, and we were like, I remember talking about. How's it going for you? Like, it's a bit quiet. Like, it's weird. And like,
that was probably just a typical January, like, because everybody's run out of money from the holidays.
Yeah.
And we were always like, it's so slow.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like March was like, bam, like March 15th here in Ontario in Canada. That was lockdown day, March 15th.
Same. Yep.
And and that was, my birthday's the 20th. So I had this big, 40th part thing with all the girls going out. And I was like,
no,
damn it, But then it just ended up being like, I don't know about you, but getting into the rhythm of, okay, gonna go down to work. It's really busy. Gonna do shipping all day, every day. Summertime shipping
all day, every day. Like seriously, I didn't see daylight for months.
Yeah,
I felt like I was just like in the basement.
It's like
I was like a little golem, like just like a little
too.
shipping golem.
I'd see my kids be like, hi, I'm here.
Yep. Oh man, that was so intense. It's crazy.
Yeah. But it's also, I think it's been so good for people to get back to knowing themselves a little bit more and creating, like people who didn't have time to create before did. And then that may have changed the direction of their lives or may have, I know that what we do has helped people through this.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yep. Yeah.
And that's just like the thought of that is just so heartwarming. Makes me think too. It's heartwarming to know that using your hands and slowing down and listening to your podcast or listening to music or not listening to anything and just creating something that's coming from you has just been so helpful. And I know for me and feedback I get from a lot of people, it's that's why they love like weaving and macrame and even knitting. Like this winter, I just knit.
I was going to ask you, you've been knitting so much, like beautiful things. Sweaters. I'm so jealous of the sweaters.
I just finished this last night. It's like the same as the other one that you commented on.
Is that the Frid. The Frid sweater. Oh my God. I love it. I actually when I saw it on your Instagram, I went and I went to whoever's pattern it is. I can't remember. If you want to give him a shout out.
Good Day Night. And she's a Canadian as well.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, she's beautiful sweater patterns. Oh my gosh. I feel not skilled enough to make it, but
oh no.
Really?
It is like
I can make a hat. So
knit. You could totally it's knit. Like this is all just knit. It's knit.
I know, but the putting it together part, like the arms and the body.
It's not you don't put it together. You just keep going. It's great. You could totally do it. But like
I really want to.
The repetition, like sitting there at night and watching TV and just like the knit and the knit and the knit. Like it's not like some like in depth like lace pattern, where you have to like count everything. Like no, it's just like therapeutic, and that's what I love about all this. And that's why I started weaving. Like I'm not a technical weaver. I kind of just go with the flow. Sometimes I have an idea in my head, and to be honest, it hardly ever turns out the way that it started in my head.
Yeah.
Like I don't draw it out. I just go with it. And there's only been a couple times where I've taken it out, but it's more just like what comes from within. And sometimes it turns out like, meh. And sometimes I'm like, whoa, I can't believe I made that.
I know. That's the cool thing about it is it's sort of like you get to surprise yourself in the end too.
Yeah.
But you were saying about like, the way that the whole way that weaving and macrame and even probably any craft really.
Lots of other things, yeah.
That the way that it sort of helps you find yourself. I mean, that's how I came to it too. Like I literally used to say like macrame changed my life. Completely changed, and not because I turned it into a business. I mean, that's true too. I did turn it into a business, but
if you hadn't,
exactly, like, and even in 2014 or 2015, when I first started doing it, the way that it, like, where it sort of reinforced, number one, that I could be creative because I had lost it for such a long time. I think, as a kid, I was creative, but then, you go to college and I was partying or working or whatever. And I lost it for so long. And then seeing that you can make something with your own hands, it totally does this like infusion of like pride and this like the self-satisfaction you get when you realize that you have this capability in you, it's truly, I mean, it's one of those things. I think it really does change people's lives for sure.
Yeah. Like just listening to you talk about how you lost it for a bit, like even listening to some of your podcasts too, is like there are so many of us who lost it in that period of for me, like it was after high school.
Me too.
And I'm sure some people earlier, because this is a whole like societal thing. It's like you need to find a job, you need to make money, and they never talk about being creative is a way to live and to, they never enforce that in school.
Or even the balance, school. Right? Or even the balance of life that you, that what you do and what your career is doesn't have to be your be all end all of who you are, but that's the problem. I mean, we both live in such capitalistic societies that it's like, everything is driven by how much money you're going to make, I mean, I would even say right now I'm kind of in a weird conflicted place because I got so caught up with, I mean, I think 2020 really changed me a lot because I was like, oh my God, we can make this much money. What? And then, I was like, oh, well, no, I don't have time to do anything else. And so even then, like, I feel sort of, I'm almost back to like being a little bit lost because I haven't made anything in such a long time,
Well, you need an assistant.
I know. Yeah. I have one girl who comes one day a week, which is very
more
helpful.
Than that. Because, okay. So what I realized is that you need to, some business advice for people.
Yes.
You can't do it all. Like, you can't do everything and expect to be amazing at everything and to get like, it's just not possible to have that balance and be happy and to perform and all of that. So like for me, the first thing that I knew that I needed to like offload was bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am not a numbers person. I like offloaded. I have an accountant who does my bookkeeping.
Oh, good.
And I have a financial advisor, and they sometimes work. They didn't know each other before, but they sometimes work together if we're talking about something. So that was like the biggest weight lifted. When I first made that, like, I need help, it was huge. And then
Can I ask, do they actually look at your really granular stuff, like what your margins are and
they
what
can.
products you probably should get rid of because they're not either selling well or they have low margin or something?
Well, I think they can. I'm actually in the process of finding someone to help me do that now. Like I think it depends on who you find,
Mm-hmm.
what their umbrella is. So like all of most of the people I work with are female-owned small businesses. So my accountant, she works from home. She's got kids the same age as me, so it's just her. So she doesn't have time to branch out to those things. And then my financial advisor, again, she's got a 6-year-old and
It's like a
9-year-old.
bigger picture stuff.
Yeah. So you can find somebody who will do that.
Yeah, like a
sure.
business manager kind of a person.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
Well, or even just to like help you read everything. Like you use Shopify, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So help you understand all that and like getting your processes in order. And like, don't get me wrong, don't think I'm like that, because like I'm not. I'm trying to be like that. I'm actually like
same.
This month I've been working on that, doing a shop like inventory every Monday, like because my dad needs to know. And so but offloading that has been huge. And then so when I realized that all I was doing between like being pregnant and preparing for when Coco came, I was like, I need help because I don't want a bump in the business.
Yeah.
So I hired I call assistants because they mostly do shipping, but then they start to know lots of other things. So it's like, oh, we need to order this, we need to do this. And so it was perfect because like 3 days after Coco was born, she came in and she kept shipping orders out. So it was seamless.
That's great.
Know?
Yeah.
Content was different, right? Because like, I mean, I just used whatever content I had, and then there was like baby content.
Right.
But having a plan and having somebody help, and them being flexible was amazing. So I have someone now who comes in 1, 2, 3 days a week. We talk on the weekend and we say like, okay, when do you want me to come? So she came yesterday, and then we realized, okay, we need another day. So she's going to come again tomorrow. And she's got kids. So she takes the kids to work, school, comes here, and then goes and picks them up. Like it's so helpful. Yeah. And now I am able to weave again.
Oh, that's nice.
Able to plan and to think about more things because I've offloaded the thing. I'm like, oh, but I can do it. It's so easy. It's shipping. I can do it. But then I couldn't do anything else. And then you stay stagnant, you know?
Right. And especially I'm imagining, so as you're weaving, you're probably figuring out what kind of fibers you would want that you don't already have in your shop.
Yeah.
To, fill in certain areas or whatever, like keeps you creative.
Yes. And I find that, I don't know about you, like, and it's funny because we do something similar but different with our product, but it's like finding that thing that people are going to want to use or what people are asking for, but also like, I don't want to say staying in your lane because that's not what it is, but like not stepping on toes and like all of us be the same because
right. Like I think we all want to exactly. I think we all want to have unique offerings so that everybody has a little bit of everything a little bit of their own thing to say why would you go to my shop versus, someone else's.
Exactly. Yeah. Like don't just jump on the bandwagon.
Right. Spread it out so everybody can have a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I know that you also like I've heard you talk about this is kind of the same thing, like copying and jumping on the bandwagon, like that kind of thing. It's like there's so many weavers out there and it's so saturated, but that's a good thing because all these people are creating, but also we're contributing to that because we're suppliers, right?
Yeah.
But anybody who's running a business, and like obviously fiber is our thing, it's like what is going to make you stand out. And I always try to be like authentic with what I'm doing. It's like, what do I want, or what have people asked me for, or what would I use? Like I've ordered some samples of things. I'm like, I would never use this. It is not for, like, I can't imagine anybody weaving with this, so I'm just not gonna sell it, even though maybe some people will like it. It just doesn't speak to me.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, this brings to mind. So for a couple of years, I've had a really sort of similar general muted palette of fibers that I offer. Like they all kind of work together, and like the yarns and the ropes can kind of be intertwined, but they're all a little bit subdued. And I've loved that for a long time because I find it to be like neutral-ish. But it's weird. Lately, I've been so drawn to like, and I think it's because the last 2-3 years have been so blah just in life and in general. And right now it's winter, and it's been the longest fucking winter ever. And
has it been freezing?
It's been freezing and ice everywhere.
It's terrible.
It's
so cool.
Totally. So like I'm in the planning stages for like a new spring summer rope, and I am I'm probably gonna waste a lot of money by ordering these colors, but I'm going for brights. I'm going for like some crazy brights and things that like I noticed, I read an article the other day, and they were talking about like dopamine dressing. I actually put it on my website about dopamine creating. So it was like dressing to infuse with, to have those dopamine hits or whatever. And I was like, yes, totally. And like, look, I've already embraced it. I've gone green in my hair. I'm wearing neon rainbow right now. And I'm like, you know what? That's all I want around me is bright colors. So I don't know if it's actually a trend, or if I've lost my mind a little bit and I'm going to just take a chance. And I'm like, I'm going to go bright. I'm going to go bright for a while.
I could go with it. You know what? Like, I feel like a lot of people are feeling the same way.
Yeah.
I know neither of us can speak to living in a warmer climate and having winters that are like you just have to wear a sweater outside.
Right. Throw on a little denim jacket.
Well, in Australia, that was how it was. But they always wear like whatever crazy prints and colors and things there.
Do they? Oh,
nice. But like I'm totally feeling the bright colors. Like You go with what speaks to you. It's like my mom was like, well, why don't you have this color? I'm like, well, I do not like that color. Exactly. I don't like that color. I can't use that color, Mom. Like, I can't. But why? Do some more neutral wall hangings. I'm like, oh, okay. I can't. I don't know. For me, it's the colors and the textures. And I'm like, of course, I have neutral products. But, yeah, you just go with it. Because then if you're thinking about what other people want, and of course we have to think of what people want. That's what we do. But in a way, like, say somebody who's selling a lot of stuff, and you see them out on Instagram, and they're up there, and like, I'm gonna get what they have, and then I'm just gonna sell the same thing, and that color's really popular. I'm gonna sell that. Well, that just like dilutes them and dilutes you, and like, what's the point?
Yeah. And part of the fun really is like taking these chances that are like, you know what, like this might, or not even taking chances. It's like I don't know, changing your mind over time and evolving with like pre 2015 or 2016, I was not someone who was drawn to mustard, for example.
Yeah.
I was like, weird color, whatever. And then all of a sudden, that's all it was everywhere. It was like, mustard everywhere. And then I started loving it, So you find it where your brain finds a way to adapt, I think, and start to embrace things that it never did before, which is pretty cool. Like, I think that I think we're constantly evolving and changing. And I don't know what goes on in the world that makes our brains drawn to certain things, but it's kind of cool that it does, like I think, 3 years ago, I wasn't like, oh, neons are awesome. And all of a sudden I'm wearing neon and like, I'm, selling more neon and stuff. So I don't know.
Like I say, it goes with the times, it goes with the trends, but like I know like I have some favorite colors that I see repeating through my home and that I have for a while. Like those are my go-tos. But then like I won't like red for a while and then I'm like, oh, I just bought a bright red puffer jacket.
Nice.
It's like I need, well, like everybody wears gray or black.
Yeah.
Or with their jackets in the winter, and everybody's just the snow and the ice and the gray and the black, and they're like, I'm sick of it. So you just move with it. And like, remember maybe 5-6 years ago, it was like everything was neutral. Like your clothes were neutral and the muted and everything's
gray.
Oh, maybe it has something to do with us getting older and not caring anymore.
Maybe. Can I just show you? That's so funny. Hold on. I'm gonna go grab my puffer jacket because hold on.
We should just both put our puffer jackets on together.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my God, is it a rainbow?
So this is how far I've gone. This is my
puffer jacket. Yeah. That's perfect.
Thank you.
It makes you happy.
In the spirit of ditching all my black stuff, that's exactly it. I was like, rainbow, yes, please.
Yeah. My jacket is like chili pepper red. I'm like,
nice.
Yes,
I love
it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I think those colors will do well. And like it's tough for you because like I know you ordered like a huge amount and it comes in containers.
Yes,
so it's not like you're like, I'm gonna order 2 and see how they go.
Right. I know. You take your chances and then we'll see what happens. But
and like for me, like I want to stay. It's the integrity of the business and the way that we are. I want to stay small-ish. Like a huge thing. Like I haven't spoken much about this at all, but my dad and
I wanted to ask the whole thing about your dad in the business. Yeah.
So like he's behind the scenes. My dad is like an introvert. He grew up on a farm, learned everything because he had to. They worked before. It wasn't a working farm. Like they had ponies and things, but my grandfather was in the refrigeration industry. So he did the fridges for the dairy farms.
Oh, cool.
So they all did that. There's like tinkering here and there. So he learned a lot of different stuff, and he ended up going into computer programming.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Like so the other way.
But you see, it's kind of like us and being artistic and not knowing what to do with it and finding a job because you had to, right? He had to support a family. And when we were growing up, that was in the 80s, that was still the time for a lot of families, not most, but a lot of families where the mom stayed home. Like my mom stayed home until we were okay on our own coming home from school. And then she went and got a part-time job. So my dad was the breadwinner. He had to make the money, but then he built half the house and he built a balcony and did this and did that. He's always doing the things that came naturally to him. Yeah. So it was, and we've been close, but this whole thing has brought us closer because we are problem solving together and creating things. Like I have a visual idea and I know the way that I want it to work. And I know as a weaver how it needs to be and the size that it needs to be. And then he will take it and be like, okay, this is what I have to use to make this. Or even if he doesn't know, because he's not a carpenter by trade, or if he doesn't know how to like the legs on things, he just like came up with his contraption.
That's amazing.
And it works.
Yeah, very skilled, and he obviously has like this spatial sort of understanding.
Oh yeah,
I think I guess that's kind of ties into the programming stuff, but
yeah.
Wait, so tell me, how did the first loom come about and how did you guys sort of work together on that and then expand from there?
So I wanted to weave, but I couldn't find a loom anywhere around here. Just like a flat, like tabletop, like lap loom. Couldn't find it. And I found one on Etsy and it came from Florida. I don't think that person's in business anymore, but it arrived and I was kind of disappointed in the way that it worked and felt. Like didn't feel quality
like
to me.
flimsy.
It was like rough,
Yeah.
rough and really light and didn't fit together properly and was like missing something. And I think, okay, so I weaved on it for a bit. I'm like, well, Dad, can you make something like this? And so he made one, and then he made another one. Honestly, I don't know how many like first ones he has. Like he has a bin of like different size. Probably not anymore. We probably burned them. We had a fireplace. We would like burn the extra wood. But so it just came from that, not being able to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I ended up, I don't even know what I did. I think I gave that other one away, and I weaved on the smaller one for a while. I'm like, oh, this is hurting my back. Like I can't do this every day. I was weaving. My husband works in the evening, so I would be like watching movies and TV and weaving every night. And like, this is killing me. Like I can't do this anymore. I'm like, Dad, can you make one a bit bigger with legs?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, but I'm not going to make them so that they move, because then you have to put like elastics and strings on them. I'm going to fix them. I'm like, okay. So that, and even at this point, I don't know, selling like 2 a month, maybe, like it wasn't even a big thing.
Right.
And so he made the 30 by 30, and that was the first square.
Okay.
Like most of our loom, well, not most now, because I guess these ones are bigger, but 3 of them are square, and we started off with a lot of squares.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the 30 by 30. And then I was like, he said, well, wouldn't it be good if you could put another bar in the middle and they can weave on the top or the bottom or the whole thing? I was like, that is awesome. Mm-hmm. So then we tried with the one, and like, well, it's 30 inches tall. Like, why do we just need one? We could do like 2 more. So then we added some more on there. And at that time, when we started to make the prototype for it, he got cancer.
Oh, no.
And so that was put on the back burner for a long time. Like I had my own that I was making things on, but I couldn't ask him to do anything more. Mm-hmm. Anything bigger. I mean, he made a comb, and he made all the tools for a beginner's kit, like the shuttle, the shed stick comb, and we had that. But him having the looms to make while he was going through chemo, like that kept him go. Like it was his thing.
Oh, so he wanted to be working while he was going through.
He wanted to be, yeah. He couldn't physically go to work. Like it was a strenuous job that he had. So he was at home going to chemo and then like doing a loom like a week or something. And it doesn't take him that long to do it now, but just kept his sanity and kept his hands moving. And then he got through that. Of course, he's still here with us.
Thank
So
God,
he
yes.
Yeah. And that's when I had Layla at the same time.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
And then after, I mean, there's been like so many things. And then after that, we made the adjustable loom, and we put it out there in the world, and I was so excited. Like there was like a couple others that were adjusting in different ways, but there wasn't something that was like ours that I knew of. And then people like, well, can I have a bigger one? I'm like, okay, we can make you a bigger one. And then that with the 30-inch loom, the Ace loom, that is what I think was the tipping point, where I went from just doing something fun to like, oh, I'm actually making some money.
Right. And where it becomes recognizable online more, and where they're like, everyone starts spreading the word about where to get this great loom.
Yeah, this adjustable loom. Yeah. And then we couldn't keep up. By
the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't want to gloss over the fact like how beautiful and serendipitous it was for like with your dad being sick, and that this timing worked out in a way that, where he had something to enjoy and be therapy for him at the same time. I mean, I think there's something, very beautiful and kind of divine about that happened in his life. Otherwise, what would he have been? He would have just been like, sitting there and not, what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
He's such an introvert, and he's got his little office and shop in the basement of like the house that I grew up in. It's a really old house, and he was really into our ancestry, so he also did that. But I think he would just be doing ancestry. Yeah. But like, to be honest,
how much can you do of that?
Oh, I don't know. He's still doing it. Like he goes on, and then he does like this side, and then this side, and then my in-laws, and then he's going on and on. But it was a really great tough time for him, but also a great time, like having their first granddaughter be born and to be able to continue to make things and then to come out of it, and the family growing, and then our business together growing. And it's just that it's always kind of worked out. I mean, our communication isn't perfect. Sometimes I'm like, didn't I ask you for that? And he's like, well, can you please send it to me in an email instead of just like calling me and asking me? Like, I need
you got to get it in writing.
Oh, I know. We're a little bit disorganized in that way. We'll get there. But without him, this wouldn't be here. And I think sometimes, like, I don't mention it enough in my, obviously Instagram is like the place where I tell everybody the news of our world, and I want to mention him more, but he's also like kind of shy. But he just loves making this, and his attention to detail, like the looms are so soft. Like he finishes each one by hand sanding it. Wow. And it's so soft. And we've been asked if we wanted to like go into more of a production. And it's like, well, and it wouldn't have the integrity. Like it wouldn't be what we are. And there is, as far as I know, there's nobody like producing the amount that we're doing in the quality that we're doing.
Right. Yeah, because I guess when you hand it off, you do risk some quality control issues, especially if it's just at a larger scale. That like inevitably there will be some issues. But I do wonder if, I mean, well, you did mention earlier that you sort of want to stay the same size that you are. I know.
I know. It's hard. It's like, I feel like I'm at this like point where I have to figure that out. You know, I don't want to lose the integrity of the business. I mean, we do have another woodworker that makes the 30-inch looms, and he's been working with us for a year. And you know, there's been, again, quality control. Like my dad wants it to be a certain way, and the importance of like the ends of the loom being soft as well. And then it's like, well, why does that matter? They're not going to touch them. Like, well, it does. Like when it's a tactile thing. When you open up your loom for the first time and feel it, and I get these messages like, oh my God, it's so soft. Like, and when you're holding your loom and you're getting it ready, it's like a whole process of setting yourself up to make, and starting with something smooth and soft as opposed to like kind of rough and
where you're getting splinters.
It makes all the difference, like subconsciously, I think. So for him, it's really important, and I don't see any end in sight at the moment. Like he's 71, so you know, and I could see him doing it for a while, but like eventually we're always looking for woodworkers. If there's anybody around me, I need more woodworkers, because I want to keep growing it. But like, I have to think of that side of things too. It's like the future of the making the looms.
You're in Ottawa?
No, I'm in Barrie, which is just north of Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're like 40 minutes north of Toronto.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So for anyone's listening, you're a woodworker, or if you've got the connect, hit Michelle up. What was I going to say though? So you haven't had, do you have any pictures of your dad on Instagram, or like making
some?
Okay.
Some. I mean, his shop is not like, again, we talk about like your shipping area, right? Like his shop is in the basement of the house I grew up in. Yeah. And it's not like this. I mean, this is a 50s house, and they did this basement nice, but like, it's like concrete floors. It's his shop.
Right,
it's been there. Like they have lived there. Like I was born in 1980, and they've lived there before that. So it has things that I don't know how long they've lived in that shop. So, but we've taken pictures, and I do like stories with him or some reels. Like at Christmas, I peeked into his shop, and he was like standing away, and he's got white hair now and the white beard, and I just put Christmas music to it. It's like Santa's making your looms for Christmas.
Oh, totally. That's awesome.
Kids actually ask, they're like, oh, is that Santa? That happens all the time.
Oh, fun.
But he's a big guy. Like I'm almost 5'9". I would say, I don't know, maybe he's close to 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's a big guy, but he's so friendly and happy. He loves doing this.
I love that you can work together. It's like an amazing and such a special thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I get messages, like people are so nice that they do send those kind messages and saying thank you. Like I try to remember to pass them on to him because he's just in his little bubble down in the making, and he doesn't get the interaction, like all the back and forth of comments on stories or posts or emails. So like try to keep him in the loop.
That's good.
But we're in contact. I see them every week. Like they're coming today to drop off an Epic loom and some tools and stuff. So like I see them all the time. Not just because that they want to see the kids.
Yeah, of course.
More than anything.
Well, I was perusing your website before we started chatting, and I was noticing that some of the looms are sold out. Is this just like, are you doing made to order only right now, or?
No. So the Epic loom we've put as made to order, like it's a pre-order, and it will say sold out even if it's a pre-order because it takes a while to make. Like if it could, I don't know, like I don't know the details of the exact time because I don't stand there and watch my dad do every step. But the Epic loom is a big loom.
Mm-hmm. What's the size?
It goes up to 7 feet tall and it's 6 feet wide.
Nice.
So it is. We measure everything, like we weigh everything in kilos for shipping. So it's like 15 kilos. So like 32 pounds or 30 something pounds to ship this honking thing. Yeah. So it takes a while. So that's the only one that is a pre-order. Everything else, when we have it in stock, it'll be there. So it's hard to predict, right? Like it's hard to predict what people are going to want. Our best seller is the 30-inch loom. So I try to have that in stock as much as I can. But then all of a sudden, 10 people will want the 40-inch loom. And then all of a sudden it's sold out. And then like, okay, I need more. Right. So that's just how we work as a small business. Like if I wanted to make sure that my shelves were full all the time, I would have to hire more people. But that would also bring the price up.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I wanted to ask you. With wood, the price of wood went up crazy.
It did.
During the pandemic and probably still is up. I'm not sure, actually. We stopped making our little cloud looms and stuff like that because it was too much. They were just the cost of wood just went up, and I was like, well, I can't charge like, I don't know, like $30 for this little tiny cloud loom, and I don't know. Maybe I could. I don't know. I just felt like maybe it would be too expensive on the other end, for the consumer. Yeah, but.
It's tough. Yes, the prices did go up. Mm-hmm. We have purchased from a local mill. Like we don't just go to the big box stores to get the wood. It is a local mill, so the prices are different. And because we purchase so much so often, I'm guessing there's some sort of thing. I don't know that my dad, like a package my dad will get, but. It has gone up, but minimally in the grand scheme of things when you're making something so big, I think. And it's not $30. Like the increase wouldn't be like if I had to increase it $4 on $250, people don't really care. They're like, oh, right.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, I do. I increase things every so often when we have to, but it's never like a huge, like,
the jump is not that big.
$50 more. And, you know, like, so I don't really feel like I have to announce those things unless something is like a huge thing. Right. And I will. So it's still worked.
That's good.
Seeing what it would work like when and if we hire more people to do the woodworking, that will be interesting, right? Because it's been me and my dad. So my dad is making them for me, and it's dad rates, I'm guessing.
Right. Family, friends and family.
I don't really know how long it really takes. Like we talked, but he's so like, yeah, it takes me like this long for this. He's kind of like me in a way, like it's like it takes me like 10 minutes to do this part and 2 hours to do this part. So I can make like 5 in 4 days, or, it's not like he's like busting out looms every day. It takes a long time. And that's why we don't have everything in stock all the time.
Right.
And he's not taking breaks. So like, I don't want people to think like he's not made looms for a month. Like he literally works every day.
Nonstop, yeah.
Yeah, like he works on like the low electricity time.
Wait, so how does it work financially, if you don't mind me asking? Like, is he on your payroll or something?
He is contracted. Like
Okay.
he gives me a bill and I pay.
I see.
Yeah, so everybody that I work with right now is contracted in.
Okay.
I don't have employees.
Yes, same. Like my
Yeah.
assistant, my 1 or 2 day a week assistant is like independent
Yeah.
contractor. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that makes sense for now until
Mm-hmm.
like I grow to a place where I need more people and consistently. You know, right now it's pretty flexible,
Mm-hmm.
especially like with my assistant Tony. She again comes when she needs to, or like in the morning she'll be like, oh my gosh, so and so was sick this morning, I can't come. I'm like, okay, like we'll just
Right.
do it. And you know, and that's like shipping. Like we could ship something out in 3 days. It could take 5 days. It could take like my shipping window is between 1 to 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. That is like
Is
the
that for
worst
looms only,
thing
or is it for
for
yarn and
everything.
everything? Everything.
It's for
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I don't know about you, but it's like you feel the pressure, right? You're like, somebody ordered this yesterday. I have to get it out before the weekend.
Yeah. For
Like
sure.
I felt like if I'm up front and always remind people that it's just like me and sometimes somebody else, like she's not here every day. I'm not working from 9 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the business, and that like we will get it to you within this window.
Right.
And like 98% of the time, people are like, sure. Like nobody complains.
Yeah.
No one. I get the random emails like, I ordered this 4 days, just wondering if I have a tracking number. And then you just remind people like in the email that they've sent you, you can actually see the shipping details that they probably didn't read.
Did not read.
Like,
They never do.
No. So everybody listening, read the shipping details when you're purchasing.
We try to tell you about the processing times.
Because we're not big companies, right?
Yeah.
But just reminding people and like being slow, and we're not Amazon. We're not like 1 day shipping.
That's the hardest. I have to say. I mean, I think with Amazon, everybody, and even myself as a consumer, when I'm purchasing other things, I really do expect to see like the confirmation email quickly and the shipping email really fast. Like I'm like, if it doesn't come in like 2 days, I'm like, wait, what? Where is it? That's weird. And then I'm like, oh, did I accidentally order something from China? You know, you sort of don't know if you order off Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I even my own expectations, I realize, for shipping have become unreasonable as a consumer, and I'm like, I can't.
Well, it's unreasonable in different companies.
Sure.
Different.
But sometimes I
different
forget.
tiers.
You know what I mean? Even I forget. Even as a one person business or whatever, I'm like, wait a minute, how small are they? What are they doing over there?
I understand. I do the same thing. And then I like follow that tracking. Like I'm like, I check it every day. I'm like, where is it? I'm so excited.
Exactly.
Like I ordered legs for our bed 2 days ago off Amazon. And then I like heard a delivery truck. I'm like, oh, the legs yesterday. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this was something else. Oh, it's not coming till next Wednesday. I'm like, what? I ordered them yesterday.
Yeah, always. Well, so Coco's your second kid, right? And is she home with you all the time? Did you say? I can't remember.
She's home. Yeah. So Brody works evenings. Okay. We're kind of like ships passing in the night. They actually just came home from grocery shopping. I can hear them. So we both do mornings together. He'll take Layla to school. I'll get myself ready, and then I'm usually working around 9:30. And Coco's poking around, and he'll do stuff with her during the day, and then he works at like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And school finishes at 20 after 3. So we do like a
little
quick
switcheroo.
Yeah, a little switcheroo. So we have lunch together most days.
Oh, nice.
And I do feel that guilt though. It's like she's upstairs, and I feel like that mom guilt where like I want to be there with her. Although like her dad is great, Brody's great with her, but like I'm a bit controlling. I'm like, you need to go to the park more with her. You need to go out, but
be more engaging.
But he's the quiet one. He's the homebody, and I'm the opposite. So he just doesn't do things the same way. And like I hear her, I'm like, oh, maybe I should go see her before she has her nap. Like, or maybe I'll just take today off and go take her somewhere. And yeah, because with Layla, it was honestly, we were just partners in crime. Brody worked at that time. He worked at a really big, busy restaurant in Toronto. So he would come home 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh boy!
And he'd sleep until 11, and then he'd get up and have a shower and eat and get ready, and then go to work again.
Right.
So it was really just Layla and I, and she just came everywhere with me.
Oh, wow.
So you know how they say, like, oh, I raised my kids the same. Well,
no, you don't.
No way, but like Coco's life is totally different from what Layla's
changed. Totally. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's a big decision for me when thinking about like future plans and my kids and how flexible do I want to be? Do I want to tie myself down to things? Can we make this work just on my income alone? Right. What does Brody want to be doing? There's lots of does he want to be a full-time dad? Like, there's lots of stuff.
Is he still working in the restaurant industry now?
Yeah, yeah. He works up here in Barrie. He just works 4 days a week now. I was trying to get him to just do 3, just because I also want him in Layla's life too. Because with restaurants, you have to work Saturdays, right?
So he really does they miss each other a lot. I'm sure
they do.
Maybe Sundays they can hang, but he probably works Sundays too. Yeah.
And well, he's off Sundays, but he sleeps in because he has to. He's tired, but
of course,
we just try to make it work around and make sure we're always doing stuff. But we for the most part, as a family, we're homebodies, and I know it's hard to like kind of gauge that now with our lives, right? Like,
everybody's kind of a homebody now, right?
Yeah, we're slowly trying to get back out into the world and see some friends and like putting our toe in testing the water, see what life is like now.
Yeah. Well, what's going to actually in Canada? Is your mask mandate lifting soon, or do you guys not have a mask mandate?
We have a mask mandate.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to really get too much into that, but the trucker convoy.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're like in that.
Yeah. I wonder because it's similar. I think we're now having some kind of. There's some rally supposedly. I don't know, going to Washington with the truck union.
Yeah.
I think opposing something. I don't even know. There's so much now, especially with Russia, Ukraine. And I mean, I just can't. I'm like, I'm just going to listen to my podcasts and pack orders because I can't really handle anything else mentally.
Well, like my mom, I haven't actually mentioned my mom. I have a mom. She's been really supportive. Like, she's always there to listen to ideas, and she's always there to translate between my dad and I when we're not speaking the same language. Like, she can. But my mom has always said to me, it's like, we're not built to carry the weight of the world. Like, if you think about it, it wasn't really till after 2010. Like, that's when we moved back to Canada, and that's when I remember iPhones coming out more. And it wasn't till around
like
then.
Internet news, 24-hour news. Yeah.
And social media and being like having your finger on the pulse all the time. It's like, news is important. Like she said, news is important, but like, you don't have to do something about everything and worry about everybody, because that's not what humans are meant to do. So when things get big, like they are like today, I try to just like be aware, do what I can, but also just have the best life for me and my family.
Yeah. And these one-on-one conversations that we can have, you know, can do so much to enhance and, bring comfort to our lives too. And this is something that is accessible. Like we can't all go fighting or whatever whatever people are doing. We can donate, we can do things like that. And, but you're right. It's completely limited. And it wasn't like 20 years ago, there was no keeping up with it 24 hours a day. No, that didn't exist.
No. And the pressure to do that. Like, some people think that you should be involved in everything you possibly can. But like, I think everybody should do what they live their best life.
Right. Absolutely.
And let people live make their choices.
Wherever you feel called is where I think you're meant to be, Yeah. So it has been interesting. So you asked about masks. So as of, what's today, the 2nd, the 3rd? I don't know. Yeah. March 1st,
March 1st, we lifted vaccine passports in Ontario.
Okay.
So all of Ontario, you don't need it to go to a restaurant anymore. You don't need it to go to the gym. There are rumors that there won't be masks after March break. And I think that's like around I don't even know, 14th.
Okay. Yeah. I think our schools, New Jersey schools, are lifting them for this on the 7th, I believe. And New York City schools, I think, are also similar. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to some normalcy, but you know, and I feel like we've taken whatever precautions we can. You know, my whole family is vaccinated. So yeah, we just
have you got it yet? Have you got COVID yet?
No. Is that not the craziest thing? I think I'm the only last person standing. I'm not kidding. Me and my husband and my kids are the last people standing. So weird.
Well, there's so many people that don't know if they had it or not. Like,
that's
we
true.
had that huge wave around Christmas, and just people were getting sick, and there wasn't testing. Like, you couldn't go get testing because there's so many people going, and nobody really knew. But we got it, and for us, it wasn't too bad. So it kind of took the scariness out of it a little bit more for us. I mean, we're still very cautious moving forward, and it has changed the way we do things. And watching Layla be really cautious about stuff and asking, like, but what about COVID? Like, it's been in her, like, being sick.
Life, really,
it's been in her life since she can, like, comprehend bigger things, you know? So,
how were you guys? Did you feel? How were your symptoms and everything?
Well, having Layla being in kindergarten and Coco starting daycare, they got colds every few weeks, right? So we were sick a lot. That was for us, and I don't want anybody to think that this is how it is, because everybody's different.
Everyone's different, yeah.
We had a little cold, like I had a weird little cough, and I tested myself and it was negative. And then I tested myself again. Like, I tested myself before Christmas, felt this right after Christmas, 2 days after Christmas. Was negative, and then heard that crazy story of like a woman on a plane who like felt a little tickle and then tested herself and
then quarantined herself.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe I need to test myself again. It was New Year's Eve. We were not doing anything. Brody was working for New Year's at the restaurant, so I tested myself, and I was positive. I was like, what? Like, I don't even really feel sick. Like, and Coco, no symptoms. Layla had the most symptoms out of us, and she wasn't even bad. None of us had fevers. It was for us, it wasn't too bad. And then my dad got it.
Oh, okay.
So, and that we were always worried about him because of him having cancer a few times. But he even said, "Oh, it's just weird. It's just weird.
Right, like we just feel off." Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad it was not severe. That's great. Yeah. My in-laws they had it like a few weeks ago. They're in Texas. With my brother-in-law. So they're all living together right now. So they all sort of got it from the toddler who goes to school and brought it home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we might be the last family standing around us, at least. Like, I'm like, how did this? But we tested over Christmas too, because we wanted to get together with my sister. And actually, we did have like weird little colds, but we kept testing negative. Who knows though? Because those home tests weren't the most accurate. So we could have gotten it at that point, because we decided to actually put off visiting each other over Christmas, my sister and I, because of the little colds that everybody had. And then so we decided maybe 4 days later, since everybody tested negative, to go hang out. But it's totally possible those little colds were that,
But it feels like we're over the hump.
I think
it feels like, for us, just getting back into life and figuring out what our new norm is, being respectful of other people's choices, because we have friends that have just been like whatever the whole time, and then we have friends who haven't seen anybody. So you just have to respect everybody else. It's been like hard to handle things that we would never imagine we had, choices we'd never imagined we had to make, and the underlying stress of the whole thing that none of us really understand going forward. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad that, like, for us, I mean, Brody has been in and out of work the entire time. Restaurants open, restaurants close, restaurants open. Like, and it's so unpredictable, and not being so busy has affected him too. But at one point, when they closed again, he's like, "Oh, I'm just glad. I just want to stay home anyway." He was like used to being with the relax. Kids now. Yeah, he's good. He's like, "Can I just be a stay-home dad?" He's like, "Let me come work for you."
Who knows? Maybe you can manage that.
Yeah, but it's been so. I love that I've just been able to like be safe in the home and be able to do this.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. Kind of weird how like even when the pandemic hit in the beginning, like March 2020, I was like, I know so many people's worlds were completely upside down. And I was like, it doesn't feel that different except for just being in the basement longer hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah. But do you think about like what you're going to do next, or are you just going with the flow?
I'm just going with the flow, I think. I mean, yesterday I gave myself a bikini wax and I told my husband, I go, babe, things don't work out, I can stare at waxing people because I'm pretty good at it.
Oh boy.
So, the sky's the limit. I really don't know.
There you go. I was talking about with the rope and stuff.
Well, no, that's what I mean though. Like because things are slower right now for sure. So normally I get like something like 4 to 5 containers a year. And I think this year I've ordered 2 that will both be coming within the next, like one of them should be here in a month and a half and the next one should be here in like 4 months. But I'm like, because I'm so slow, I'm actually like, am I going to be able to pay for both of those? Because usually.
I think you will.
Usually.
You will.
I'm not worried about that. But this time I a little bit am. So I don't know. And I'm like, maybe those will be the only 2 I get this year. I don't know. Yeah. It feels weird.
Tough to know. Yeah. It's tough to know. But I wouldn't even consider this year to be a normal year yet, right? Because now it's March. People are traveling.
It's true.
People are like, I can travel now. And we're doing those things. Just like last summer was so quiet because everybody was like, I need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Get out of, everybody's outside. You couldn't get a campsite anywhere here. People were like waiting on, like, you had to be up at 7:00 in the morning and call the provincial parks and get your campsite because like everybody wanted to be everywhere. So like even cottage prices, we're just on the south end of cottage country here. Muskoka, a lot of Americans and like celebrities come up here because it's beautiful. Like cottages, like my family had to book a cottage in January for August.
Oh wow!
To go together, like it's just crazy. So I don't think you can go off of what it's like now.
I know.
I'm guessing like in the fall it will start to like calm down again when the kids are going back to school again and being able to like. Yes, they're staying in school,
right?
And I'm going back to my office job, or maybe people are staying home. Like my brother and his partner, they both work from home now, like because of he worked at home before, but she has been working home the whole pandemic, and they have little offices in their house, and it's changed for everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like for me, I'm like always kind of thinking where I want to go. I know that I want to do this forever. I don't think I could ever work for someone else again.
Oh, no, I could not. I mean, unless I was really forced to, like if financially I had no other choice. Exactly. I would, but I absolutely don't want to. I don't know how to not have my own schedule. Like I'm so accustomed now to having my own schedule and being able to, really to have as much freedom as I want to do what I want when I want. And I just don't think I could be under someone's tutelage again. Like it actually scares me. I'm like, I can't do that.
Like for me, it's been so empowering. I mean, I have had, with my, do you want to call it a career before? My jobs before. I've always had my own ideas of how things could be done. And like I conflicted with people, and I left feeling like I wasn't good enough or I couldn't do anything. And then but now I am running my own business that is supporting my family. And part of me is like, look at me.
Yep,
look
me
what
too.
I did. And you always like tried to shove me back down again. It's like, I don't want to feel that way
Yeah.
again. I don't want to be conflicting with somebody else's plan. Like I want my own plan.
Yeah. Not only that, but for me, I had a lot of guilt because I didn't think I was doing a good enough job for other people. Yeah. I mean, I really wasn't. But I felt bad about that. But now I'm like, if I make a mistake, it's on me, and that's fine. I can handle the guilt to myself. You know, that if I screw up, I can make it better personally. You know what I mean? Like in order or whatever. But the guilt on the other people, I was like, oh, I can't. I always felt like I wasn't doing enough or good enough at it, you know? So,
but then that makes you also think of like the type of business that you want to run, because like how many people are really happy in their jobs, and how valued are you really, like personally, are you really in your job? And like for me moving forward, like I want to make sure like anybody who comes to work with me, like, I mean, I draw a certain person to come and work with me. So I know we already start on the same sort of like page.
Totally.
I just wanted to make people feel good and to love what they're doing. I mean, I worked when I was pregnant with Layla, before we moved into our last home, I worked at a small yarn store, and just a couple of days, and I did the knit night. So I would run the knit night, even though I was like the least experienced person. I was just there to keep the store open. And like that little place, like people just loved it. And it was a little community. And for me, like going back to the way things were at one point in time, where you knew your local and you would go in and you would see people that you like knew, and we would like that kind of feeling. I sort of feel like that with some of my customers. Like I have, and you do too, have repeat customers, right?
Oh, for sure.
And you like, and the messaging, and like you don't really know these people, but like even for us too, like we have known of each other this probably most of this time, right? Like these how many years now? Like 7 years.
Oh, that's
and it's
crazy.
Just like, yeah, I know. Because I always think of Layla. Layla just turned 6 in January. So it's been, and I never celebrate my anniversary birthday, but like, what are we, March now? This is 7 years, March, when I first opened my Etsy store. It was March 2015. So like, it's its own little community. You know, you can just go out and ask people things, or like, you know, the relationships that we've made with people, like Jen from Nova Mercury and I are like friends now.
Oh,
we talk on the phone.
I love her.
Almost every week. Like we have, you know, and Anne France from Woven, like they have become a big part of my life now. You know, it's
that's so wonderful.
Yeah. So like looking forward to see like how I can maintain this, and like gonna share with you. Oh, I gotta plug this in. My battery's about to die.
Oh.
Let me just plug it in. Hang on.
Okay. Ooh, now we can see the studio actually. Oh, it looks so beautiful. All the colors. Yeah, the light changed. Yeah, the light changed, and it's looking at the whole room now. How pretty. You guys need to watch this on YouTube so that you can see these things.
Yeah,
so,
and
so pretty.
I set it up in a rainbow.
I
actually do. It's like it's. I guess that's the creative part of me. I'm like, I need to make the rainbow, and it's all the same through all the colors. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I am toying, and who knows by the time you put this out if this is going to be a reality or not. But I might as well share.
Please do.
I'm toying with the idea of opening a brick and mortar. And I'm,
See, that terrifies me, but I love it for other people.
Well, for me, I'm not so worried about like the financial part of it. It's more like the flexibility and the freedom part.
Yes, the logistics. But if you're like, you seem like you're very conscious of making sure your employees are happy and fulfilled. And I think that is probably the most important part about running something like that, because you have to be able to trust them. And if you're treating them well, they will treat you well. And because you can't be at the shop 24/7. You have to entrust it to some people. So I think you're right. I think that is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. And I knew I wanted to do that in the future, but for some reason, like after Christmas, it's really hit home. Like it's really feels like
you're being called to do it.
It might be this year.
Yeah. Have you started looking for spaces?
No, I don't want to look for the space until I get all my ducks in a row, because because that is me typically. It's like, oh my God, I found this space, and I'll just like rush into it, and I've got no plan. And this is what happened with the house. It's like, I wanted to move for a few years. We were so rural. We had one neighbor that we saw, like we could see one house, and then it was just,
oh wow, very rural.
No sidewalks or anything, and I couldn't go for walks with the girls, and I didn't see anybody. The pandemic hit, and I really didn't see anybody, and I was like depressed, like literally, and I needed to get out. So it was like 1 year, like, let's move, and Brody's like a homebody. He's like, oh, I think we could stay here. I'm like, oh, let's move. And then I'm like, I'm gonna talk to an agent. So I was at my hairdresser's, and she's like, I've got something to tell you. We're moving like 2 hours away. And then so we started talking, and her friend who's an agent, and then she gave me his number, and I texted him, and then he was at my house the next day.
Oh wow. It happened fast.
Yeah, it happened fast. And then he gave us access to looking at the homes, and then we came up here. We knew we wanted to live in Barrie because there's a lake, there's paths, there's skiing, there's snowshoeing, and
it sounds lovely.
Beaches. It's beautiful. And we came up and we looked at one house. We weren't financially ready. Like, we hadn't sorted out with the bank and everything. And we knew it wasn't going to be the one. They were taking offers that day. But then we drove through town. We'd never been through this part of town. And it's one of the older parts. And Brody said, oh, look at that house. There's a sign. And he's like, should we go look? I was like, oh, no. We're going down a hill, like a big hill. And he's like, no, I'm going to turn around. So he made like a crazy turn, went back, said coming soon. And within that was on the Wednesday, and on the Monday we had purchased the house, and our house was not ready to sell.
Oh my gosh. That's
so fast. It was fast, and it was stressful because then we had to get our house ready to sell. So I'm trying to learn from that and not jump in and go find a place first. I want to make sure that I'm going to listen to my instinct and really feel if it's the right time. Mm-hmm. I don't want to regret making the step too soon, because I know that I want to do it. But it's just the timing is everything. And I'm exploding out of here. I can't, unless I want to have aisles in here.
That's what we had to do. I had to put aisles in, and it's like, now there's no light. Like, it's, And
then you can't, I love taking the pictures, mm-hmm. and it's tough. I gave the girls a playroom just on the other side of this wall, which mm-hmm. they never use. It's cool down here because it's the basement. It's scary.
Right, of course.
Mommy, come down. I'm like, oh, that was supposed to be a place where you just went. But I could go into there, but expanding, thinking of it as like a co-op possibly, where
that'd be fun.
Yeah, they could sell their stuff in there and come work, and be big workshop space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to just be.
I love that idea.
Expand from my own, what I want in a store,
mm-hmm.
not what's out there. I want it to be purely what I want from a community. Because honestly, when we moved back from Australia, I felt up until we moved here. So this is 11 years where I did not feel part of a community. I missed where we lived. I missed that you could just. I would ride my bike to work and see people. I really missed it. And now that I'm here, I'm like, I feel it. I want this for people. I want people to feel connected, especially after COVID. Yeah, I feel like I'm obviously passionate about it. I feel like the time.
I think you're saying it out loud, and
I know. I'm scared to say it out loud.
Very, I feel like you have thought about it and thought it through a lot, and you have figured out what you want out of a space.
Yeah.
So I think we know where it's gonna go. As long as everything lines up, as long as everything lines up, and I'm sure it will. I think if it's meant to happen, it for sure will. Because your community, if you have a very sort of strong maker community, and I think that's very exciting. And I'm happy
putting it out there.
Yeah, you're putting it out.
Should I tell her? I'm like, no, I'm going to do it, because then maybe, actually, the more I put it out into the universe, energy, it'll happen.
That's how it works. I love it that people come on here and they like manifest. It's the best. I love
there
it.
There you go. Yeah. You're like very warm and like you could just, it's just the excitement between the two of us because I think especially because you're focusing on like fiber, like you have a passion for it, and we to talk to somebody else who has that passion.
Yeah.
People in our worlds normally don't get it, right?
No, they don't. I mean, they kind of do. No, my friends and family, they get it because they see it through me, but I would say I think the majority of people in general don't. I think, they think of like crafting as a very niche thing, which it is, I suppose. But like, I don't know. I don't think people understand the true fulfillment that it can bring a soul. It makes it sound woo, but it is legitimately like it's something greater than like everything from having a creative brain to being inspired, and all those things are things that you can't, they're like intangible in a way, and then you turn it into something tangible, and I think that's like so fucking incredible.
Knitting for me, sometimes more than weaving, it just blows my mind that this was on a sheath, and then it was spun, and then it was dyed, and then I went like this, and now I'm wearing
and now you're warm. I mean, like, it's warm and beautiful. You know what I mean? It's so cool. It's so cool.
Very functional.
Yeah.
Like wall hangings, it's amazing visually, but like the physical wearing of a garment is different. And I feel like if I ever learned how to sew, like making my own clothes, like how fulfilling that would be.
I know.
But to have these conversations, like we've been talking almost for an hour and a half now, it's straight. That doesn't happen on a day-to-day.
No, it doesn't. I know.
So to have something like this and to listen to the other podcasts and how we all have this like common thread is just so like humbling or connecting in a way to know that you're not alone in this.
Yeah. And to have a space, and to have the brick and mortar space too, to like expand it out that way, I mean, I think is something incredibly special that you can create in your community. Because you could have these hour and a half long conversations face to face. I can do it all day long. That's right.
All day.
That's right.
And maybe without a mask.
Yes, totally. That would be awesome. Oh, Michelle, I think that's incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm going to be waiting for updates from you to see, go on some little real estate trips and.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Site visits.
Yeah, I should definitely document it all.
You should. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm excited for you. I know, like, it's May, I know you're sort of still thinking about it, but I do feel an energy being drawn toward that way. So I think that's super cool.
There's always kind of, like, I don't know, I've got to always have, like, some sort of next step in a way. Like, I haven't brought in new yarn for like 4 months. I'm like, what can I find now? It's like, I don't know why. I feel the need to
I have that too.
Flowing.
Yeah. But I think that's all a part of the growing the business, but also keeping things interesting, like, I mean, actually for a long time, I've only been offering the same stuff. I only recently found something new. We'll see a little something, but nothing. It's interesting because, like the majority of my products, like the like where I have I guess, whatever. My bread and butter is the focus. Rope. Yeah, the focus is the rope. But then finding these other little things to kind of throw in is always, it's fun.
It's fun. It's hard to find stuff too, though. It's like a mission.
It is.
To find things. Like dedicating that time.
Yeah. And sometimes I just feel like I'm in my own little bubble on the internet where I'm like, I'm just not finding the right places. I feel like, last year, oh God, I can't even remember God, what is the name of them? I feel so bad. They were a sponsor for one of my episodes, but like the like Rare Sheep and Wool organization. And there's a whole damn it. What is the name? I thought I had a book here. Anyway, they have there's a whole directory of like farms in your area that sell either yarn or raw wool raw wool, rare sheep organization, whatever. I don't know. Please look it up, people. It's cool because
you'll remember after.
Yeah, it's like these heritage brands of sheep, and it's to like support these farmers and also support the type of sheep it is, because they're going to become extinct if we don't do something, like if we don't give them a job. So So yeah, you can like look in your area to see your local farms or whatever and see what they offer.
Well, that's perfect, because I can't imagine that happening because our industry is just exploding.
Yeah,
but I would rather support local than a big factory of some sort.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Sure.
I'll shoot you a DM when I find the name of it and maybe say it in the intro so that I don't leave people hanging about what the organization is called. Rarewool.org, something like that.
It's always coming up with something new, always trying to remember these things. It's like there's notes everywhere, there's things in my head, I forget about that. 2 months later you remember, you're like, I was gonna go look up that thing.
I know.
Oh yeah, but then we also have to go somewhere with the kids.
There's 1,000 things with the kids too, especially
there's almost no separating. It's hard to separate the two.
I know,
because we don't go to work and come home.
No, there is no separation. It's
if
all
the kids
intertwined.
The kids need mom and they're calling for you. You're like, okay, I'm going up.
I know. I gotta take my earbuds out. What do you need?
Yes. Why couldn't Daddy get that for you?
Exactly. Ask Daddy. He's in charge of that. I always say that. That's my whole thing. Mommy, can I play Roblox? Ask Daddy. He's in charge of that. Anyway. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for chatting with me. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
I love
hearing what you're up to.
I know.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
It was exciting and I was nervous.
I'm glad we made it work out. I know. Me too.
Yes.
Me too. Yeah. So before we hang up again, where can people find you? And I'll put it in the show notes, you guys.
Okay, they can find me at rovingtextiles.com or on Instagram at Roving Textiles.
Awesome. And maybe soon in a brick and mortar shop.
Barrie.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much again, Michelle. Check the show notes of each episode to get the website and Instagram for each of the fiber artists I speak with. Be sure to give them a follow. And you can view video from this podcast on neromastudio.com/thefiberartistpodcast. If you enjoy the Fiber Artist Podcast, go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you for listening.